after the redraw, car number 64 out of Northampton, Pennsylvania. This is Austin Beers, the defending champion of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. After the redraw, he qualifies in position number 3, trying for the $10,000 bonus to sweep all the midsummer races out of Northampton, Pennsylvania. The Bar Harbor Bank and Trust sponsored ride for Matt Hirschman. And now your front row. On the outside, the Elite Towing sponsored number 31 out of Wolcott, Connecticut. This is Mike Christopher Jr. And going pole position. As the season heats up and hits the midpoint, this is his sweet spot. Look for him to be fast tonight. The USNE Motorsports sponsored ride. Car number 1 out of Orchard Park, New York. That is Patrick Emmerling. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting lineup for the Clash at Claremont. First time in 4 years here at Claremont Motorsport Park. My name's Andy Austin, along with Ryan Flores. We'll have the side-by-side racing action here tonight. And again, the redraw, Ryan, really messing with Austin Beers. He has been far back as 10th last week, draws position number 6. He cannot seem to buy a break when it comes to these redraws.
Well, Austin Beers might not be able to redraw well, but he always finds a way to finish well. Only one finish this year outside of the top 10, and that was an 11th at Oxford. This guy is the model of consistency, and the redraw is going to be really important tonight because no tires available. You're not going to be able to put tires on these cars tonight. You can come in and swap them, but you got what you got. So track position is going to be king tonight.
And I believe there's a bit of a changing of the guard in the last couple of weeks, really last couple of months with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Some of the stars who have been part of the series the last couple of years are taking a step back, but it's really offered drivers like Paulie Hartwig III to break through. He's got a top 5 already this year, looked really fast. Boston was saying how he just feels comfortable in practice, and this could be a night where we could see the youngest driver to break through to Whelen Modified Tour victory lane. The youngest right now is Catalano, but Paulie Hartwig could be a threat tonight.
Yeah, Trevor Catalano. You got to specify which one. There's 5 of them, and they all start with T's. So Amy and David are trying to throw us off. But Trevor Catalano, 17 years old last year, and Paulie Hartwig, man, he's been on a tear. I think he's raced 5 times this past week between the ROC Tour and the Smart Tour. He's won 2 ROC races and just coming off a ton of momentum, looking for his first win at the pinnacle of modified racing in the Whelen Modified Tour. So he will be a threat tonight for sure.
Another driver who's always a threat in the last couple of years is Steven Kopsick. I mean, he's put together his first 2 wins. He has the point lead. He's led the most laps this year. But just in case he needed something extra in his arsenal, they saw a guy on the way to the racetrack with his thumb stuck out, and they looked a little closer and said, hey, that's Phil Moran, crew chief for Ron Silk. Let's see if we can take him to the racetrack. Of course, they have the history together, but Phil now turning the wrenches for car number 21 here tonight. And it looks like we're ready to send it down track.
Steven Kopsick, man, he's my kind of racer.
It looks like we're ready to send it down trackside to Bosna Tufa. Bosna?
Well, folks, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports given to us by our Grand Marshal from Whelen Engineering, Jackson Giles.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Oh, that's a 10. That was really, really good. And there's nothing like hearing those modifieds roar to life, rolling thunder for 150 laps. We're getting ready to turn things loose here in just a few moments, but we're going to step aside to give you all the green flag racing action. It is the Clash at Claremont live on Flow Racing. We're going to be back after these. some more intel on the Steven Kopcik story.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was telling you, Steven Kopcik's my kind of racer. Before he was a modified tour racer, he was a modified tour crew chief, and he's got Phil Moran in his corner, but uncharacteristic tonight. He was 9th in practice, qualified 10th. Not a ton of speed in this 21, so we're going to see what those two have put their heads together and come up for this 150-lap race.
Steven has been lights out great all year. His stats do not lie. There is one part, if there is an Achilles heel to this team, at times it has been a bit of a qualifying issue. And to have someone as steeped in information that Phil is it can't hurt. And, of course, they have the history, so it's not like the best of the best starting to work together and figure out, the workflow. They certainly have the working knowledge of each other, the friendship, and the bond. So this is... if I'm a competitor and I walked by the pit and I saw those two hanging out in the same pit, I'm a little worried today.
Yeah, absolutely. But we did see this team. He's led the most laps this year. He's got average finish of 6.3 that we just saw, but we did see him struggle badly at Oxford. So with these two together, they're going to figure some stuff out as we go 2 to go before the green flag.
Patrick Emmerling starting up in front, and Patrick is a driver who really starts to come alive when the heat turns up. He lives down south. He says, this is my season. This is my normal. I like it. And if you think back to his 2024 run where he really almost took away the championship, it was this stretch. It was July where he won multiple races and really threw his hat into the ring.
Yeah, and they had a tour-type modified race here a couple of weeks ago, and John McKennedy and Patrick Emmerling came up to run that race. So he's got some laps here just recently, and Dale Hedquist, he's always on it. So with Patrick Emmerling redrawing the one, we're about to go green. We're going to see what's...
On the starter stand is Sean Houlihan. Haley Mitchell from Whelen will be throwing the green flag for this race. Truck ducks onto pit road. 150 laps. The Midsummer Championship race number 2 picks up off of turn number 4. Patrick Emmerling leads him to the green, and we're underway.
Patrick Emmerling squirts away as Matt Hirschman tries to fill the hole there. You see how tight it gets up off the corners here. When we watched qualifying earlier, we saw 2 different things out of Hirschman and the 79. The 79 wrapping the bottom as tight as you can get to those rumble strips. The 60 uses the full racetrack. He's able to get clear into P2.
He really pulled it up off of turn number 2 in the first lap, and he, being Patrick Emmerling, can put that car pretty much wherever he wants it, under the tutelage of Dale Hedquist, and now Emmerling will jump out to about a 3-car length advantage. They're side-by-side further on back. McKennedy 2x2 with Mike Christopher into turn number 3.
What I love about this racetrack, talking to James Savali, the winner at the tour race here back in 2007, one of only 3 tour races we have here, he said, as the race goes on, you can really roll the top because it's so narrow coming off the corner that you can kind of pinch that guy down. Right now on stickers, it's going to be a little bit better as we see Austin Beers trying to use the outside a little bit to get some momentum, but it's going to be a little bit better. The inside's going to be dominant, but as the race goes on, rubber starts getting laid down, tires start getting warm. We're going to see some people try to roll this outside on restarts later in the race.
I'd like to look up the stat on who has passed more cars this year, and I believe it might even be Austin Beers because he has had to fight that 64. Of course, they came into this year as defending champions. Everyone expected them to run up in front, and they have. I believe they have 4 top 5s this year, but they still don't have the win. And Austin Beers many times has been outside the top 10, but found himself scrapping right around the 5th or 6th place. And looks like he might have another night like that. He's on the back of Christopher as they head to turn 1. Further on back, you see...
Yeah, watching qualifying earlier as we watched Tommy Catalano. Watching qualifying earlier as we watched Tommy Catalano and Eric Beers kind of battle it out here. Eric Beers, Eric Goodell, sorry, I was talking about Austin Beers' dad, as we watch Goodell kind of hanging on the outside. But looking at Beers' car earlier, the big thing with modifieds right now is platform to conventional setups. Ron Juhas, watching that 64 in qualifying, is traveling a lot, really high in the air. Looks like he's come with more of a conventional setup, while some of these other guys are lower to the ground, stiffer springs in the front, so we're going to see what prevails over 150 laps tonight as he passes the 31 here, Michael Christopher.
What I like about Austin Beers is he has been one of the few drivers to put the car both on the outside and the inside. And, of course, with Ron Newhouse calling the shots on that one, looks like they found something in that 64. And not that Austin has lacked confidence at this racetrack, and it's not like he doesn't like to come see the fans. It's just that he wasn't excited about Claremont being on trouble. One driver, Teddy Hodgson, out of shape right in front of Trevor Catalano. Catalano's going to go down to the inside, still trying to steal that spot as some major racing about mid-pack. They're almost 3 wide with the Danny Watts number 82 on the inside. Here comes Andrew Moeller.
Yeah, and the funky shape in the one here, as you see, Tommy Catalano and Hodgkin's been struggling with it. These corners are really tight, so you'll have a lot of wheel in it. You'll try to rush back to the gas to fill that hole, and then you'll get a big snap loose off later. If you're that outside car, you can kind of feed them some water. And Tommy's having a tough time right now, but if you can kind of poke down in the one, but if you can feed them that left rear and kind of keep position and drive them down on the rumble strips, that's what we'll see later in this race. But yeah, right in the 1 and in the 3, these corners are so tight, and it tightens up so much in the 1 that if you are too tight, it's going to appear on TV that the cars are free off, but it's because they're struggling for turn in the middle of the corner.
As you saw in track facts tonight, they're banked about 8 to 10 degrees, but you know, Ryan, when you're entering turn number 1 like the drivers are right now, it's almost like the banking doesn't hit until the mid part of the corner, and as a race car driver, that's going to take a long time to get used to.
Well, the thing that you want to do as you see these guys too wide here, you want to late apex that corner. So you want to roll in higher and cut down lower later in the corner. But when the field is stacked up like this on restarts, the more that you leave that bottom lane open, someone's going to squirt in there and fill that bottom lane. So it's going to take the line away. So as the race progresses and you get cautions out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Steven Kopsick, your point leader, with problems coming off of turn number 4. He ends up on the inside. Car's in one piece, so he'll continue on his way. But Steven Kopsick, with sparks shooting out of the bottom of the 21, will have to hit pit road. So major trouble for your point leader.
The letter's missing there off. It looks like the left front might be flat if I'm looking at it right, but the letter, the white on the letters are scraped off the left side, so he definitely has some left front damage. Looks like a left front flat for Steven Kopsick.
Looks like he got together with a car that he pits next to, but isn't necessarily his teammate. They, I believe, have some lineage there with that team. But the young driver who's making his second career start, Jaden Harmon, started 17th in this race and had a very impressive run at Seekonk. Finished in 8th place, and I talked to him, and he said, you know, I kind of expected to do that. You got to love these kids who start so young at the pinnacle of open-wheeled racing in the Whelen Modified Tour, and they come away with a top 10. We think it's the greatest thing of all time, and they're like, yeah, well, we could have done more. But we watch Kopsick as he runs the outside, definitely coming on pit road.
It's got to be tough for Tommy Wanek having 2 cars out there if they did get together. I haven't seen a replay yet. But with your tire allotment, you know you only get 4 tires for tonight, so your front stagger, some people say, might not matter, but it's going to really matter with your front sway bar load. So they're going to be able to go in there, change that left front, reset their sway bar, and hope that what they put on there is as good with what they started with.
As the Whelen caution lights are on here for caution number 1, Whelen is the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect first responders. And a special hello to all the Whelen employees who are here tonight for JDV Productions, presenting the Clash at Claremont, the second race in the mid-season championship, which is its own 3-race series. Started at Seekonk, here at Claremont, and goes to Monadnock Speedway. As we see Steven Kopsick on pit road.
Yeah, and you guys might have saw him drive up and pass the pace car. Something they do that's unique here. You still can lose laps under caution, so they let you get up to the pace car, then they release you out to get a little bit of a head start so you don't go a lap down. They'll also back the pace car down to try to help you out when you have to pit, to give you some extra time, but it's going to be tough. This team's going to have to get this done quick so they don't go a lap down.
Let's go pit side to Bosna.
Steven Kopsick on pit road got a left front tire change. They thought it was flat. And Steven was saying that there was no power steering. He lost power steering on that 21 team. They're looking at the asphalt right where Kopsick came from, and you can see a little bit of fluid where Kopsik just drove off from. So that might be power steering fluid that's slowly leaking out of Kopsik's car. He drove away, but he was complaining that he lost power steering. We'll see if he ends up coming back here, but they're looking at the fluid down the asphalt at the 21 pit stall, and they're going to talk with Kopsik and see what they need to do next.
Thank you very much, Bonsa Tufa from pit road, and a story that continues to develop. You can see them looking in on the tire right now.
Yeah, Andy, and if he did lose power steering, hopefully it's just a loose line or like a fitting that they can come in and they can flip the front nose of that hood up and look in there and see if they can check a line, because it's going to be a long night with no power steering at this tight Claremont racetrack. But I think that if it is just a line, hopefully they can tighten it up, put some power steering fluid in there and get them back out there, because if not, it's going to be a tough task for our points leader to come out of here still in the lead with the points.
And the points are really tightening up. I mean, coming into this race, Kopsik up in front by just 10 markers over Austin Beers. And Beers has been coming, and he's bringing a party with him. Kopsik has had a fairly comfortable margin since breaking through and having a really nice start to the season. But then you throw in a Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling's only 15 points out. And then you have John McKennedy in a very similar position as well. So you have 4 drivers going for a championship. You only have 2 of them who have won championships. Beers, the defending champion, and McKennedy in 2022. A couple of drivers really, really hungry. And the road to the championship goes through the 21 right now. Steven looks like he will.
Yeah, as we see Kopsik coming back to pit road. Yeah, he's gonna hustle around, get to the pace car here. If I'm him right now, I'm a pit crew guy, right? If I'm him, I'm talking to my pit crew. Hey, have this wrench, have these lines ready, and I'm gonna hustle back around. We got to do this quick so we don't lose a lap. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here. You're gonna see him get released from the pace car. I think they do it in the middle, right there, in the middle of the corner. He's gonna hustle around, and we're gonna see. Hopefully, Bonsa's got some more for us down there after they service this 21.
And to your point, Ryan, he is at times his own crew chief. Let's go trackside to Bonsa.
Steven Kopsik making his way back down. He was asked by Phil Moran if he could smell the power steering fluid when he got back on the track. Steven says yes, he could smell it. They mentioned a little bit of puddle on the asphalt where Steven left the pit stall. He comes back in. They're going to take the air cleaner off and remove the hood to see what they can do to try and remedy the problem. They take the hood out. They're going to have to be quick in order to not lose the lap. Kopsik's crew taking a look right now. They got the engine fired up. They're going to see if maybe a line is loose, trying to figure out what to do. They can't waste too much time. Steven Kopsik coming in as our point leader. He had one rough night at Oxford. Looks like they might have figured out the issue, or they just got to hurry up. They got the hood put on. They got to tighten up the air cleaner. He's in danger of losing a lap here. They got to be really quick with that 21 car as they try to get him to scamper out of here.
Excellent work by this team, and they are being tested on a night that you really need a guy like Phil Moran, who has been there, done that. He's one of the few people in the pit area tonight who were working on cars on the night that Richie Evans won this race in 1985. Phil's been doing this for 40 plus years. I asked him, I said, were you here for the first one? Yep.
They didn't quite get the hood back down on that 21. They put the nose piece back down first and kind of had to smash the hood back down on it. So hopefully that's not a added, just an added problem for this 21 team. And yeah, Phil Moran has so much experience. The problem for the pit crew down there is that the head wrench on this car is Steven Kopsik. So if they did have a line like those power steering lines, they're braided lines, they're really stiff. They tend to come loose at times. But he's the one that could probably fix it the fastest. The problem is he's bolted in that race car right now.
And now he comes to a halt on the racetrack at the bottom of turn number 2, and the drama continues to unfold. Is this the night that they will look back on come championship night, where they lost the 20 points and they go into the final race? And you hear about this often. I mean, I talked with Patrick Emmerling about it a couple of years ago. He said, you know, we would have had the championship if. And there's always that if race. And for his, I believe it was Richmond that particular year. And, you know, talking to a couple of other drivers saying, hey, you know, we've been really good, but there was that one race. And without that one race, and now he gets fired out again, you know, we would have been the champion. Is this the mulligan? But there really isn't a mulligan on NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour championship racing. But he's back under speed.
Yeah, he's definitely a lap or two down as they come to 1 to go, and they're going to be coming back to the green flag. But a long night already, just 30 laps in for Steven Copson.
Yeah, Steven is 2 laps down. He is 19th place on the racetrack. Patrick Emmerling is your leader. Hirschman second, John McKennedy third. And we're going back to green. Sean Houlihan waves the green flag, and we're underway.
See Hirschman draw even down the backstretch. A little bit of an advantage. We'll see if he pins him down on the bottom. But Hirschman's car so strong on the top. He's able to use all the racetrack and power to the lead. You mentioned that $10,000 bonus for winning all 3 of these midsummer races. When the money's on the line, they call them big money for a reason.
He overpowers Emmerling down the backstretch the last time in a brand new leader. It is Matt Hirschman. Big money off of 4, but now Emmerling takes a peek to the inside, and here comes McKennedy in turn number 1.
Yeah, Paulie Hartwig hanging strong on that outside. As you see, as we get later in the race, 79 gets his Nerf bar up and over the left rear of Hartwig, but they're able to keep going. But Hartwig, this outside's gonna be strong the longer we get this race in. But you have like 2 or 3 laps to make it work. Then they'll get lined up on the bottom. As you see, the 64 getting hungry down there in 5th place.
I am so impressed with Paulie Hartwig III and how well he has adapted to this Whelen Modified Tour, the pinnacle open wheel series of asphalt here in America, and running with the big dogs. He has a top 5 this year. Tonight could be a top 5 for him if he continues on his way, but he did surrender a couple of spots. Lost one to Austin Beers, who's having what's turning into an Austin Beers race. It didn't look like things were going to work out for him here early on, and I know we're still in the early stages, but methodically he is picking them off one by one and now finds himself inside the top 5.
Yeah, still a long way to go with 112 laps to go. And just previously, we saw Michael Christopher get his left rear up and over those rumble strips. So we talked about how narrow this track is on exit. So you want to wrap that white line to get a straighter exit. But if you get just an inch or two too low, the rumble strips here at Claremont are nasty. And if you hit them with your left front or left rear, it's going to really upset the race car. And that's how Teddy Hodgkin was able to get around the 31 of Michael Christopher Jr.
We have a beautiful sunset here at Claremont Motorsport Park here tonight, and the temperature has cooled down probably about 15 degrees, and that's the air temperature, since qualifying and since practice. Ryan, how much have these race cars changed from day to night for this evening?
Yeah, you know, every track's a little bit different, and these guys that have raced here before, the John McKennedys, Patrick Emmerlings, the Matt Hirschmans, you know, they know. I think you go to each racetrack and you know which ones take rubber, which ones tighten up more, which ones loosen up more. If you got to give it a little bit more sway bar, maybe a spring rubber in the left rear, spring rubber out of the right rear. But they definitely tend to tighten up at night. But every track is a little different. That's where only 6 drivers in this field haven't started races here before. It's going to pay off for them.
You know, John McKennedy led 137 laps of the 2022 race. That's not going to happen here tonight. But I think he has a lot more than he's showing right now. He is all over the back bumper of Patrick Emmerling. He's looked to the outside, he's looked to the inside, and something tells me he has a little bit more. He's not showing his hand, but he has to go soon because Austin Beers is right there, and Beers is going to take advantage in the next couple of laps.
I can tell you one thing none of these guys want to do is let Matt Hirschman run away with this, because if you let him set the pace, he is just going to pace you out of the race. And what I'm hearing about, talking to a couple drivers this week about these American Racer tires, what you have on lap 1 with your balance of your race car is about what you have on lap 150. They don't fall off too much. Your balance doesn't change too much. With the Hoosiers, you would have to start the race exponentially tighter, and then you would free up through the race. Matt Hirschman had a tough time figuring these new American racers out at the beginning of the year. You saw him win last race, and he is off to a hot start here tonight.
And that just proves once again that we are watching excellence in real time. Matt Hirschman has been racing for decades, and he still has the hunger. And he could easily rest on his laurels and say, well, it's the tire, or I'm just going to lay back, and this is the reason why things aren't working out the way that I want them to right now. No, that PD team dug in. They did the research. They did their homework. They worked a little bit harder than everyone else. And when they broke through to victory lane, that was the warning shot. And now here comes yet another one. He's starting to check out. It's about a 3-car length advantage as they make their way into the corner.
Yeah, and I spoke to Matt Hirschman a little bit this week, and he keep me in on a couple of the things they've been doing. As you watch him, if you watch the different lines, you can watch Emmerling, see him get down to the white line, and Hirschman just does that typical have 2 feet, 3 feet up off the line, drive off the right front, straight off the corner, saves his stuff. But there's a story about Matt Hirschman, and if you know about Matt Hirschman, then you have to know about Tony Hirschman and how long they've been, as he gets into the fence there, and how long they've been racing modifieds and how thick their notebook is. I had a buddy that did tires for him, for Tony Hirschman, back at Stafford 30 years ago, and they missed the stagger by a 16th of an inch, and Tony said that's why he missed the pole that night. So they are so fine-tuned on their race cars, so tapped in. I know that I can't feel a 16th of an inch. I don't even know if I can feel a quarter of an inch. That's how good these guys are with these modifieds.
And he is on the edge and out of control as well. He just tapped the wall. You can see the sparks shooting out of that number 60. And another driver who has quite a great story is Mike Christopher Jr. And with more on it, let's go trackside to Bosna Tufa.
Mike Christopher Jr. had a lot of optimism after practice. He was really happy with the car and race trim, but he came on the radio a few laps ago and said that his car was getting hot, that he was starting to overheat. Joey Mooch, his crew chief, told him, turn the fans on. Christopher said they're on, and to keep his gap from Teddy Hodgson in front of him to get some cool air to come through the grill.
Thank you very much, Bonza, as the 31 continues to impress this year, having a great season. Another one of those drivers in the changing of the guard of the Whelen Modified Tour, and some of the stars that have really started to shine here in the 2026 season. You can see on your screen people waving and cheering. There are different battles going on all around this racetrack. These fans at Claremont Motorsport Park are certainly entertained tonight, and I think they're getting ready for a finish. It looked like that Matt Hirschman was going to check out. His advantage had grown to about 5 car lengths, but Patrick Emmerling starting to reel him in. And again, we're coming into Emmerling's season where, if we look back at 2024, he was there for the first half of the season. But then when we hit the midseason, they flipped the switch. Him and Dale Hedquist rattled off multiple wins, and they almost picked up the championship this year. They've had speed. They've had 1 week that they were off, and I think they're really coming into their own in the middle of the season.
Yeah, Emmerling always a threat, but Matt Hirschman, man, the minute he starts pulling away, he's so savvy that he's just going to back up, control the pace of this race, keep those guys close, save his tires. This is typical Matt Hirschman, and it's bad news for the rest of these competitors if this race keeps going this way. Now 62 laps in.
Hirschman continues to lead. It looks smooth right now, but if you go back a couple of laps, check out this replay. Off of turn number 2, or up one of the corners here, slides right into the wall, sparks shooting out. That's a driver that's still after it every single lap. There is no cruise control on Matt Hirschman tonight. Inches off the wall each lap, but kissed it a little bit. Didn't seem to affect the handling of the race car. He's still about 3 car lengths ahead of the one of Emmerling, and I hesitated there because now Emmerling closes it down to 1, and he's on the back bumper looking for the lead in turn number 1.
Yeah, Hirschman you see how he just rolls a little bit higher, half a car length higher than everybody else, and he talked about pre-race just using all the racetrack. He just used a little bit too much there up off the backstretch. 600 horsepower is hard to control even in a straight line with 3 inches of stagger. You don't often see those mistakes out of Hirschman. Thank God for the right side Nerf bars, that it didn't, hit the rear tire or bend anything. I almost guarantee you won't see that mistake out of him again tonight.
And for more on the Emmerling story, let's go to Bosna.
Patrick Emmerling competed here at Claremont in a race about a month ago, and they got some really good notes. Dale Hedquist said, yeah, you have to make a couple tweaks because the tires tonight are different with American racers on, but they ended practice early today with a lot of confidence for tonight. Emmerling says the car is good, just biding his time right now, staying with Hirschman, ready to pounce when the time comes.
As Patrick Emmerling continues to run, he has a bit of a teammate here tonight, and this is just how the Modified Series, or the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour works. You have a guy like Emmerling, he's got a fast race car, he's got a sponsor in USNE, they sponsor a number of cars, including John Michael Shinnett in car number 8. Now, Shinnett has had a rough go of it in the last couple of weeks and was frustrated. He has one top 10 finish this season. That's at Oxford Plains Speedway, and I think was about ready to take some time off. Now, off of the racetrack, John Michael and Patrick do have a lot in common. They do a lot of off-racetrack work together, and Patrick saw his friend struggling, and instead of just giving him a few hints here and there, they decided to form a technical alliance, and of course the sponsorship of USNE helped, and John Michael had a great qualifying run. He picked up some time in practice, and it's great to see that race car have some success here tonight as he gets a really nice run through turns number 1 and 2. But watching the 1 and 8 together, I see that relationship developing more on the racetrack as the season wears on.
Yeah, David Miller with USNE Power has been such an asset to a lot of these drivers on the Modified Tour this year. As you mentioned, he sponsors both John Michael and Patrick Emmerling. So he brought them two together and said, hey, 2 cars is better than 1 if we're trying to figure out information. Let's get together, put our heads together, and we'll help each other. It's also going to help Patrick. You know, we've only had 7 races on these American racers, so John Michael can say, hey, this is what I saw, this is what my tire did, this is what we're doing. So it's going to help them with their learning curve, even though they're running better, and it's going to really help John Michael as he tries to navigate this Whelen Modified Tour.
As they're coming up on number 21, current point leader, but it certainly is going to change at the end of the night if things stay the way they are. Stephen Kopsick, if you're just joining us on Flow Racing, is 2 laps down after an incident in turn number 4. He is 19th on the racetrack now and is about to go down a 3rd lap, and this has to be frustrating for Team 21 as the 60 of Hirschman powers around him. Let's go down trackside with more on the Stephen Kopsick situation. Bonza Tufa.
Stephen Kopsick just falling a lap down to the leader, Matt Hirschman. Earlier tonight, when he had his incident coming off of 4, he was complaining that he was losing power steering. There was power steering fluid coming out of his car when he came to pit. The only remedy for that situation is to completely cut the power steering. So Kopsick right now is just laboring that car around the track. No power steering for the rest of the night.
Thank you very much, Bonza. As 21, you can see him fighting the steering wheel, and on a night where temperatures are still in the 80s and a greasy racetrack that he had not seen in NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour competition before tonight, it's definitely a tall order, and he's going to be sore tomorrow. As now the battle for the lead begins to close up, Ryan. They're going around some lap traffic coming up on one driver. That's Corey Plummer. And what does Patrick Emmerling do here?
Yeah, he's just going to have to wait and see where Matt goes. You know, Matt's going to catch him in tougher spots. He's going to close Emmerling up, and Emmerling's going to catch him in harder spots like this right here in the middle of the corner. Matt's going to squirt away a little bit. But back to the 21, man, these drivers run smaller steering wheels than they ever have, 14, sometimes 13-inch, and that just makes the wheel harder and harder to turn. With these rack and pinion steering racks, he is going to have a long night, so you just can't drive the car hard because you probably have more steering wheel angle in a place like this with the tightest corners almost that would go to and on the circuit. So he's going to have so much wheel into it that he can't hustle the car because he's not, if he gets loose or something happens, he's not going to be able to correct the car. So it's going to be a long night for him as Emmerling is giving Hirschman all that he can here for the lead.
And Ryan, you see that they're running 2 distinct lines. And, well, I say that, and this time it looks like Hirschman took away what was the Emmerling line. Emmerling's been going about a half a groove lower, and he has been rubbing that white line, whereas Hirschman's been about mid-track, and now he's kind of taken that away from him. It looks like they're coming up on some more lap traffic as they make their way back into turn number 1.
Yeah, Matt runs that line where he kind of he gets in a little bit higher, unwinds the wheel slowly, and uses all the racetrack up to the wall where where Patrick is cutting back down to the white line. It heats his tires up a little bit more, and it makes you spin your tires a little bit more off of the corner. So we're going to see who it works out for in the long run. Once they clear this traffic and they get back to running some clean laps, we're going to see who's better right now. 89 laps in, 61 to go, 60 to go when they cross the line there.
This race is rolling off quite quickly, and well, now with clear traffic, or excuse me, no traffic, clear racetrack in front of them, Patrick Emmerling is not letting Matt Hirschman check out. And Ryan, you said earlier in the broadcast, that's the one thing you don't do. You don't let that 60 get on cruise control, and he has not done that. He's applying the pressure, And I think Matt's feeling it. I've seen him see the cars kicked out just a little bit. Could it be the handling slightly going away on the number 60?
Yeah, 14.316 for Emmerling last lap, 14.371, so about a half a tenth better for Emmerling as he missed it a little bit there. Matt squirts away. It's going to be a tall order. Catching the 60 is one thing. Passing them is going to be a whole nother story tonight.
They're about 5 laps away from getting into heavy lap traffic, and we're coming up on the 100 lap mark. So 2/3 of the way through this race before you know it, and number 1 is right there. I don't think Patrick Emmerling wants to wait until the lap traffic. I think he almost dirt tracks at that time off of turn number 4.
Yeah, that's the tough part is he's getting pointed and he wants to stand on the gas to get under him, but there's just no grip to do that as he gets into him here. And he's going to fire in on the bottom. He's going to fill. It's going to be so hard to complete this pass, though, if Mac can keep position. They're just going to let him go.
Brand new leader on lap number 96. It's car number 1. Patrick Emmerling rockets off the corner and pulls away by 2 car lengths. This is a surprise. I didn't think he would pull away this quickly, but Emmerling has set sail in the USNE number 1.
If you look, Matt adjusted his line a little bit there, got a little bit down closer to the line. Once he saw what Patrick's doing, he's going to let him run. This is typical Matt Hirschman. He's going to let him go. 52 laps to go. A little bit too early to start burning his stuff up, he says. But if this thing goes green, it's going to be bad for the 60.
You know, Ryan, I don't know how you have the discipline to know you have a winning car, but to let the driver who just passed you continue to get smaller in front of you and think, okay, you're going to come back to me at some point. This is why I'm not a driver, because I wouldn't do that. I would want to fight the guy as hard as possible. But Matt Hirschman, they call him Big Money Matt for a reason. He's all about discipline, and he's not out of this one yet.
Yeah, Matt's been in these situations time and time again. So we're going to see. Look, if he knows, hey, I'm not as good as the 1 right now, he's going to be on offense. I don't want to burn my stuff up. This isn't the pace I want to run. He's going to let him go. Hope for a caution late, stack him back up, and he gets back close to him. But Matt is so savvy. He's always up to something. But don't look now. McKennedy's getting a little bit closer in his mirror.
Yeah, he can sit there and kind of hold back all he wants, but he's going to be on defense very, very soon, because here comes a charging John McKennedy. And you talk about the race coming to the driver. We are 47 laps away from the finish. We have run only 1 caution flag, and that was for the spinning Stephen Kopsick ride. By the way, Kopsick, if you're just tuning in, is 3 laps in arrears with no power steering and will likely lose the point lead tonight. Could fall back as far as 4th. So a disastrous night for car number 21. Barring the next 46 laps of competition. But yes, 79 of John McKennedy swallowing up car number 60 as they work their way down the front straightaway back into turn 1.
So looking at lap times right now, they're about a half second slower than when they started the race. It's tough to tell. Emmerling will run a 40, then he runs a 50, but he's in traffic. The fastest car, though, in open track at this moment is John McKennedy. So he is coming on strong late in this race.
Give these guys a late race caution for a Friday night shootout, and things could get hairy. But we're not seeing that as of yet. There are still, 43 laps left in this race where McKennedy runs an identical line as Hirschman as they roar down the back straightaway. And in your screen on Flow, you can see Austin Beers entering the picture. So before you know it, a 3-way race for spot number 2 as they get to turn 1.
Yeah, and as I see the 60 car start moving down the racetrack, that just tells me that his car is getting tighter and tighter. As you can see him kind of use up more. We were talking about him using more racetrack earlier. He was able to roll more speed, but now he's having to use more racetrack, and he's not quite having the exit speed that he did. As you see, the 79 is turning better in the center, and Matt looks like he's starting to get tight here.
Yeah, Matt's tightening up, and there are a couple of drivers who are faster in the, not back of the field, but mid-pack. You have Austin Beers, second fastest lap last time by, but the fastest lap turn was Max Zackham riding in 8th. He's had a great night in car number 20, battling there with some other drivers as they go around Trevor Catalano in turn number 4. Nope, turn number 2, down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Max Zackham making a start in that 20 car. He has not finished in the top 10 since 2019. 7 years since he's been in the top 10. So him being fast inside that top 10, man, that's good to see that 20 car running well tonight.
He loves this racetrack. He's run here in different disciplines, different modified series, and also run in legend cars as well, as the drivers battling for second go around Tommy Catalano this time in car number 54. It's a freight train on the outside, and it's being trailed. The caboose right now is Austin Beers, but I think Beers might be ready to mix things up once they get clear.
Yeah, they have lapped up to 12th place Tommy Catalano now. Man, the pace is really, really fast as we see Emmerling just carving through lap traffic. The 79 is all over the 60, and what I don't like for the 60 is that he's backing everybody up to him. You see Paulie Hartwig coming in the frame now. So you can tell he is struggling a little bit, and everybody's going to get bound up behind him. And they're going to have to make a decision if they want to flush him and get by him. It could be bad because if he backs everybody up to him, he could not only lose second, but go back to fifth if they start lining up behind him.
I am so impressed with Paulie Hartwig, the third in number 73 here this season. And he, 15 years of age. You know, we were looking up who was the youngest driver who had picked up a modified tour win, and that would be Trevor Catalano of Monadnock a couple of years ago. And Hartwig, for 15 years of age, to be able to figure this out real quick, and Ryan, you mentioned he has a lot of experience in the last couple of years, to adapt this quickly, it's hard to believe this kid is just 15.
Yeah, I got to race against Paulie a little bit this year indoors and at New Smyrna. He definitely does not race like a 15-year-old, that's for sure. But Bobby Geiger and his dad, Paul Jr., they do such a good job with this race car. They have raced more than anybody this year, whether it be the ROC Tour, dirt cars. They're always working on quarter midgets. All these guys do is race, and this kid, this is his whole life. So he is prepared to be successful, super fast, running inside the top 5 here.
Camera now on Max Zackham, who's closing in on Mike Christopher, and we touched on this story a little earlier. Big Red closing in on Mike Christopher. It's great to see an underdog like Max Zackham have a solid night. A family team that just continues to persevere, and it's great to see the success for these guys after a number of years. You say it goes back to 2019 for his last top 10 finish.
Yeah, Max Zackham been so strong. He won the SK 5K. He won Turkey Derby, almost swept Turkey Derby last year. It's under Mike Christopher here. He has been really strong, such a good racer. Going to get a little hairy here, maybe 3 wide. I don't know if they're going to fit. Michael backs out, but yeah, these guys have been so good anywhere they show up, and they do a little bit of quality over quantity. They don't race every week, but when they do come, they're always fast.
Everybody is chasing car number 1, and that is Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling looking for his 10th NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win. It would be his first of the year, and his first in nearly a year. You have to date back to Thompson when he hit that great summer stretch again last year. I believe the last win he had was that Jeff Bodine throwback car that they put together. And the USNE team continues to impress. By Patrick's own admission, he said, we've had a fast race car this year. We just haven't had all the finishes to put together, but I'm confident. And when I talk to the drivers of the Whelen Tour, when it comes to confidence, I would put Patrick Emmerling in the top 3. Confidence in his team, confidence in himself, never wavers, and he's always very particular in his assessment of the team. And it's factual, too. He says, yeah, well, I finished there. If we didn't have this finish, I would have had this. He's very methodical, but get him out front, and he's going to be one of the toughest guys out there to pass, and nobody challenging him now as he makes his way off the corner.
Yeah, and his crew chief, Dale Hedquist, one of the absolute coolest guys in the garage area, but the 60 car is closing on him. Now that they're in open track, the 60 was about a 10th better. You see him getting a little bit bigger on the screen there, so Matt's not done yet. And the track's going to be a little bit clearer here. They got Kopsick. He's just going to pull over like he has. He's already 3 laps down, going 4 laps down. So a little bit of open track here. We're going to see what all these guys are made of as the 60 is stretching it from the 79 and reeling in. He was the was a little bit faster that last lap, but about matching pace right now. We're going to see who wants this the most with 19 laps to go.
Oh, this is going to be a showdown, and true to your word, Ryan, he let him go only to bring him back. He was about a second and a half behind, and now car number 60 Matt Hirschman is right there, about 5 car lengths off the back. He does catch Steven Komsic in an unfortunate position. Really has to drive around him in the corner. Passing flag coming out for the 21, but there's a champion move, too. There's a guy that realized it isn't his night. And again, if you're just tuning in, the 21 car does not have power steering. He had some major issues earlier in the race. He's now 4 laps in arrears and will lose the point lead tonight. Hopefully this does not torpedo the season for the number 21, but it certainly will be a black mark as they move in the second half of the season after tonight.
15 to go, and all Matt Hirschman is thinking now is, I got to get by this one car. You see him wiggle a little bit there on the front stretch, the one car. Matt Hirschman saying, I got to get by Patrick Emmerling for this $10,000. I know money is on big money Matt Hirschman's mind right now, so he is on the wheel doing all he can. And these guys are running almost identical lap times, so it's going to be whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, as we do see them coming up on 3 more lap traffic cars. We're going to see who navigates that better. 14 to go. Pay windows open.
Yeah, and guess who has more info on this? Let's go down trackside to Bonza Tufa.
Patrick Emmerling has been very quiet on the radio. His spotter, Bob Lucas, is just telling him what his lap times are and what Hirschman's lap times are, most importantly, so he knows what the gap is in terms of time and car length. Emmerling is keeping a steady pace while trying to navigate lap traffic. Matt Hirschman, the 60, when he lost the lead to Emmerling, he was saying the car is just not doing what he wanted to do and had to let Emmerling go for the moment.
Thank you very much. As we close down with 10 laps to go, the separation between the top 2 drivers remains about 5 car lengths. It's Patrick Emmerling trying to break through to victory lane for the first time this year. You just saw on the graphic his average finish is 6.3. But there is one black mark on that record for 2026. And without it, I'm sure it would be somewhere in the, I don't know, 3 or 4 range, because he had one finish outside the top 10. That was 13th at Thompson in race number 3 of the 2026 season. But look at his last 4 finishes: 6th, 5th, 7th, 3rd. Patrick Emmerling looking to be number 1 tonight behind his quasi-teammate. That would be Jean-Michel Chenette.
I'm hoping that someone throws a banana peel on the racetrack here, because the last 5 or 6 laps, these guys have run within 1,000th of each other. They've been almost the same exact lap time, with Matt Hirschman being a touch, and I mean a touch, faster. So if we have to line them back up, this is going to be really interesting as we cross the stripe with 6 to go.
You know, Ryan, you mentioned $10,000 on the line. He is the only driver, he being Matt Hirschman, that could qualify to win the $10,000 by sweeping the 3 JDV production races in the mid-season championship between Seekonk, Claremont, and Monadnock for the duel of the dog in a couple of weeks. He might fall 1 position short here in this race, but he knows that he's the only guy that can do this. If Emmerling wins this race and then wins at Monadnock, which he's won there in the past, he doesn't get the $10,000. The only person that qualifies is the driver of car number 60, and he's hungry. Meanwhile, everyone chases Emmerling through the corners as they pull off of the corner, turn number 4.
Yeah, Emmerling is yelling to his spotter, get these guys out of my way. Give me some help here. But he has a great lead here, and what a big night for him to be able to drive up past that 60 car and drive away. He's going to cross the line, C2 to go. He's just trying to hustle back around to this white flag, so overtime cannot be in the cards tonight.
He's one of the more consistent drivers of the last half dozen years of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. He has strung together 9 victories. He has come close to the championship twice, and each time that he has chased the championship and really turned it up, it would be in the middle of the summer. So it's Emmerling time, and off of turn number 4, your winner of the Clash of the Claremont is Patrick Emmerling. Matt Hirschman comes across in spot number 2. And number 79 finishes 3rd, defending champion in the Clash of Claremont. That would be the 79 of Jonathan McKennedy. Strong night for Austin Beers. And how about Paulie Hartwig with his 2nd career top 5? The 15-year-old is getting closer to victory lane. I would not be surprised to see if he steals one by the end of the summer. But there is Patrick Emmerling, and Ryan.
Emmerling's 10th. Yeah, his 10th Tour win. He's the 24th different driver to win double-digit Tour races. What a strong night by Dale Hedquist, this USNE #1 team. Man, to drive up there and beat Matt Hirschman at a track like Claremont, this has to feel extra special for these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, it's almost like, even though Matt doesn't have a home track here in New England, it does feel like he gravitates towards Claremont Motorsport Park. No matter the type of modified he's in there, he's always up front. He's really, really tough to beat, and comes up one position short, but will retain the point lead in the mid-season championship, which will be decided in a couple of weeks at the White Mountain, at the Monadnock Speedway, and the duel at the Dog. There's Dale Hedquist pounding his hand and excited. Now the crew joining him as well. This is going to be one jubilant driver who is going to victory lane for the first time this season. And look at that. There's a driver who went really hard for 150 laps here tonight, putting the winner's cap on, the Whelen Modified Tour. And there goes Emmerling, just sitting there collecting his thoughts, collecting his breath. One of, again, the most methodical drivers out there. But look at the sigh of relief. He's just taking it all in right now. And what a drive by #1. And just waited for the opportunity to get by Matt Hirschman, took it, and did not look back. Let's send it down trackside to Patrick Emmerling in victory lane, Bonza Tufa.
Patrick Emmerling climbs out of his car, celebrating his first win of 2026. Ready, go, Patrick Emmerling in victory lane, celebrating the victory tonight. You talked about how you felt the car was pretty good after finishing practice early. How was that run for 150 laps?
Really good. Super Dale over here, he works so hard, and his whole team works hard. And it was his, we came here and we ran a few weeks ago to figure out the track a little bit. We missed a little bit on the race and finished second. And it's a determination of the team. We put in the effort to go and go race another race here to get a feel for the track, and then we just made our adjustments and we unloaded that much stronger today. And I just got to give it up to the whole USNE Power Energizer One group and everyone involved. We kind of had a little bit of a slow start to the season. We were kind of struggling, and we were just trying to get. We're still top 3 in points, or I don't know where we are now, but we're just working at getting in our groove, and we're finally kind of getting that. We're getting that going. We had a third at Seekonk, and here we ended up with a win. So just absolutely incredible. I have to thank everybody involved, and just so special. Come to a track we haven't raced a tour race at, and we were able to. The 60 was really fast as always, and we were able to just kind of outlast them. I kind of screwed up right at the beginning. I wasn't aggressive enough, and I didn't want to lean on them, and I kind of thought I screwed myself for a second, but we were able to get back there. So just hats off the whole group, Dale, David Miller, the whole USNE Power #1 team.
Now, in the big picture, Stephen Kopsick, the point leader, had problems today, so this is going to be a big game for you guys. Halfway through the season, how important is the timing of this, and how much do you look at the big picture now?
It's something we're kind of worrying about. We're just kind of go out and do what we did today, win races, and route results should hopefully take care of itself there.
All right, we got one more thing. We have the American Racer Tire draw to see who from outside the top 10 will get a new free set of American Racer tires. It is the 17th place finisher that'll get a free set, and that is Corey Plummer in the 95, as Patrick Emmerling celebrates win #1 of 2026, winning the Clash at Claremont.
Thank you very much, Bonza, from Victory Lane. And you can see Super Dale there in the background already on the phone. We did it. And again, Ryan, this is the time of year where you start to fear a guy like Patrick Emmerling. They always seem to start, I wouldn't even say slow, but compared to what they do in the second half of the season, the first half gets a little light. Here we are at the midpoint of 2026, and there's the big handshake from Whelen, and first of what I believe will be a multiple victory season for the one team.
Yeah, you never count out Dale Hedquist and this number one team, Patrick Emmerling. They're always so strong. I know that the stats say that they're stronger through the summer, but they are always a force to be reckoned with, and they prove that here tonight as you see them. The pit crew's happy, man. They didn't have to do much work tonight. They're excited. They look good down there in Victory Lane.
And let's go trackside again with our runner-up here tonight, Bonza Tufa.
Yeah, that runner-up finisher is Matt Hirschman, coming home second tonight after a win at Seekonk. You led early on, but what more did you need from your car to hold off Emmerling?
Just needed to be a little tighter and a little better drive, longer than it lasted. I think, the best car won tonight, the best handling car. And the last time we were here, John won, but Dale was the crew chief on that. So obviously he's got a pretty good setup for here, and they just outlasted us tonight. I mean, once he got to me, I kind of knew there I was in trouble, and then once he got ahead of me, I think he was just doing a good job of managing his gap. But I'm kind of glad he did, because it just kept me in the game enough that I ended up still maintaining second. But like I said, close, but just not quite tonight. But hey, I mean, last Wednesday that was us, and tonight they got a win tonight, their first of the year. So these kind of runs are good nights and acceptable finishes. What happened in race 1 through I think it was 5, most of those are unacceptable. So we're I always want to, of course, you want to win, but second still was better than 17 other cars tonight. So pleased with that.
What's been the key these last couple of weeks to get back on the right track?
I don't really know that I have an answer to it. I really believe we just had some misfortune in kind of what we were dealt to start the year, and just some inconsistencies. And the last 2 races, I believe we're right around the target. And if we can hit that, obviously our car still performs as it always has, and that's a top 5 car and can contend for wins. But we stuck with it. Like I said, there was some discussion as to whether we should or not, but if it continues like this, I think we made a good decision.
Matt Hirschman, back-to-back top 2 finishes, getting it done, finishing second tonight at the Clash of Claremont. Now we're going to make our way to our third-place finisher. A good rebound after a tough going at Seekonk a couple Wednesdays ago. That's John McKennedy coming home third. John, you had a fast car in practice. You had a really good time trial. How was the performance of this 79 through the 150 lapper?
Overall I'm happy. It was a good run, a solid top 3. Obviously surrounded here by some great competition. The car was it was pretty good, really. We were just a tick loose. I thought that the 3 of us there at the end were all really even. Just, track position was important, and I was obviously kind of hoping for a yellow restart there on the bottom in third, and would have been interesting, but I think overall Patrick had the best car in the race. He drove a great race. Congrats to them guys. Overall, good day. Proud of all my guys and everyone on board of this number 79 Fury chassis.
Another solid run for John McKennedy, finishing third at Claremont. Now we go to Austin Beers, finishing fourth. A very quiet night for the 64 team. This season has been a grind for you guys, but a very quiet race it seemed like this time around. How was it from behind the wheel?
That was honestly, we got fourth, but that was our best race of the year by far. Just from, lap 1 to 150, I was pretty happy with the car. Just we started a little too free, and that's what ultimately hurt us. But hi to Mike and Maggie at home. Wish they were here, but obviously a good day for us, good points day. So we'll go to White Mountain. We're pretty good there last year, and hopefully we can get our first win of the year.
Austin Beers, as he mentioned, still looking for that first win of 2026. He finishes fourth. Now we go to Paulie Hartwig the third, another top 5 run, and probably one of the best put-together days from start to finish. What do you have to say about you and your team to be consistent from practice to the checkered flag?
Yeah, we just had a really good balance all day, and finishing in behind these guys, what a low-budget team ours is, and just finishing in the top 5 with these guys is really cool. We just got to keep this speed up, and we'll come back to White Mountain. Just find a little bit of drive there at the end, and I feel like if we had a little bit of drive, we probably would have been a 4th or 3rd place car, but it is what it is. So another top 5 is really cool. So just running with these guys is really, really tough. So we'll just keep going.
Paulie Hartwig III, the young rookie, keeping up with the heavy hitters, finishing 5th in the clash at Claremont. But it's Patrick Emmerling celebrating tonight, triumphing here at the Claremont Motorsports Park with his first win of the 2026 season. Andy.
Thank you very much. And, Patrick's really going to have to recover at the next race because it was the race that really bit him last year. He had some mechanical issues, finished 16th at White Mountain Motorsports Park. That is the next event on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, followed by the Duel at the Dog. 200 laps at Monadnock Speedway to wrap up the Midsummer Championship. Then to Thompson on August 5th, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That thrilling finish with Tyler Ripkema last year, August 22nd. Stafford Speedway. People have been looking forward to Stafford Speedway all season long, August 28th, and Oswego Speedway, the annual Labor Day event on September the 5th. Ryan Flores, it's been a tremendous night of racing here. We had definitely some comers and goers, some great side-by-side racing action on a slick track where Superdale's now getting the selfie in victory lane. These guys are happy, and they did it better than anybody else here tonight.
Yeah, what a great night. And if you look at our 3 drivers this year, a cool stat, that have finished every possible lap this year, it's been Austin Beers, Patrick Emmerling, and the guy who finished 9th, the last car on the lead lap, Eric Goodale. So he hangs on to that streak. One guy who did not finish on the lead lap was our points leader coming to this event, Steven Kopsick. He comes home last in P19. A tough night for that 21 team. It's going to be a hard rebound in this points battle, but as you just saw with the schedule, a fun summer of modified racing ahead, so we'll see what happens.
Well, for 16 races in 2026, this is race number 2, and Steven Kopsick, there's Austin Beers, as Matt Hirschman had a great night as well. It's been an amazing evening as we get ready to kick off the second part of the 2026 racing season. For Ryan Flores and Bonza Tufa, my name's Andy Austin. Have a great night of racing here at Claremont Motorsport Park. Good night, everybody.